Good coffee makes my soul crave for good content, and that's why we are here. There is this particular company who dropped in a comment that said, love the colors. What do you think of collaborating with us? If you're interested, how would we get in touch? And it's safe to say they got in touch, and this video is about them. I personally haven't collaborated with a lot of brands. Whatever that I use is whatever that I own, like the mic here. I recently got this DaVinci Speed Resolve editor because I was upgrading to the studio version, and honestly, you can do a lot of things with just the free version. But then I really wanted to invest in this software, so I bought the speed editor, and it came with the studio version. So Dehancer helps you give a film-like cinematic look to your footage. But then, if you ask me how it differs from a LUT, it gives you a pipeline of film emulation so that you can add or change parameters accordingly. Let's say if you want to change the level of film grain, or if you want to play around with the halation, or if you add a little bit of bloom, or even if you want to let's say add film damage to it, I think Dehancer would give you more flexibility in terms of that, instead of just using a LUT on top of it. So I think in that way Dehancer is superior and more versatile to use. I mean, there are certain things that you need to keep in mind before using Dehancer. I think the first thing is, when you're shooting, try to make sure you are shooting at the correct exposure. Make sure you're not blowing out the highlights or underexposing the shadows, because Dehancer is not emulation which is going to fix your back footage. I mean, I don't think any of the LUTs out there is going to fix your bad footage. So we need to sort of focus on exposing the footage correctly. So now on your screen you would be seeing my DaVinci Resolve Studio version, and then I have 4 clips today to sort of explain you guys my note tree and where I would be using the Dehancer plugin. I'm not going to grade all 4 shots into the same style, because I'm not going for consistency. I'm just going to play around and see what I can do. So what I'm going to do now is, I'll take you guys into my note tree, how I start grading, and then how I do the basic edits for the first shot, and then that is the same workflow that I use for all of the shots. So I'm just going to explain it for the first shot, and then I'm just going to play around with the Dehancer plugin and see how it gives you almost film-like look to your footages. So this is my setting. I shoot at Apple ProRes 422 HQ, and this was something that I was planning to change it into a B-roll, so I shot it at 60 FPS, or you can also shoot 24 FPS, and I was using an Nikon Z8 to film this. So as you can see, the first color space transfer is from Nikon log to DaVinci White Gamut, where I would be working on the colors, and then the last thing here is another CST. Let me just name it CST to better understanding, and then this would be changing the DaVinci White Gamut back to Rec 709 so that the colors are accurate, and the version that you would be exporting will have accurate colors, or I think accurate colors. As I was already mentioning, Dehancer wants you to give the perfect exposed footage, and also if you want to correct the skin tones and everything, make sure you add your look to it first and make sure the product is perfect, and then you can add the film emulation on top of it, so that it gives a film like look to your look. And it can't fix skin tones, it can't fix the colors on the sky, it gives you this film look. So it's vital for you to make sure the colors are correct and the colors are the way you want them to be before giving it to Dehancer. So don't make any vast changes after adding Dehancer in it. So that's why I've kept this node at the end after the CST, because I'm going to give the Rec 709 to Dehancer and add the film emulation on top of it. So it is important that you add the Dehancer after your Rec 709 conversion. Personally would do all the exposure corrections and a little bit of color corrections before giving it to CST, the color space transform. I mean, there are a lot of ways you can do it. This is something that I think I was watching one of Mark Bone's video, and I think they were doing it this way, and I tried it and it worked for me, so I stick to it. It's a very simple note tree, nothing complicated. It's a very simple note tree. So first one is noise reduction. This is available just on the studio version. So if you guys don't have it, don't care, don't use it. Your footage is perfectly fine with noise. This is a commercial work, so I had to make sure it was a bit clean. And then the first thing is HDR. You can see I've dropped my exposure because I wanted to have this moody colors to it. So that's why I purposefully underexposed it in edit to give it this look, which is good for me. And then I've just added this HDR, and you can see I've dropped the exposure here, and then the light. Played with the white balance. As you can see, I wanted to get this twilight look to all the shots that I was shot here right around the mosque. I wanted to have this really nice blue tones to it because she was wearing this pink red abaya, and I wanted to have this very nice contrast in terms of color because there was not a lot of light in the scene, so I couldn't really create contrast in terms of light. I wanted to create contrast in terms of the color, so that's why I sort of made it more blue. So you can see here I think I've moved it here, the lights to the blue side here to give me that contrast. And this is where I again change colors. I play with the primary colors and add particular changes to highlights, lights and shadows. In this scene, I think I never wanted to do it. And then as you guys can see, the log footages are pretty flat, so I wanted to add a little bit of contrast to it. So I've used the curves here, and then it gives you a very slight contrast boost to your footage. You can see I've just sampled at the highlight, the brightest area, darkest area, and I've just created a small S curve here, very small S curve. And then this is where I do all the masking. So you can see I've masked just her and made everything else around her dark, so that sort of gives this separation and creates this dark moody scene. And the second one is, so this is basically both of them does the same thing. Here I'm just in shape 1, I'm just making the surrounding dark so that it pops her and makes her bright. And in the shape 2 I'm doing the same mask, but I'm just reversing it and I'm adding a little bit of exposure to her. As you can see, I've added exposure to her, and that's it. And then we have the CST. So I'm using the hue versus hue curve here. Why I'm using it, because the abaya was originally not red color, it was pink color. So I just used this curves with hue versus hue, and you can see I've just changed the color here and brought back the pink color that we originally wanted. And then this is to fix the skin tones, but then this is where I pretty much change the colors and play around with the colors. Here there was nothing to fix with the skin tones because you can't really see her face, so I've just change the color of the sky here. You can see I wanted to have the twilight colors, so I personally would work on colors here. The pre-hue versus hue and skin is where I personally change the colors of the scene and make it the way I want it to be. So that's why you can see I've most of my projects will have the blue in this range, in this color, because I like it. And then this is a color pop, which gives me the nice saturation boost to it. But this is not something that I do where I just add the saturation and add the saturation slider here. What I do is you go to color space and enable HSV here, and also you go to the channels, and then you disable the hue and the vibrance. So just saturation is active, and then if you come here and adjust the gain, you can just add the saturation without affecting the other parameters. This is like the oldest technique in the book at the moment because a lot of YouTubers are using it, so you guys would pretty much know it. But if you guys don't know it, this is how I do it. So this is the original pink. This is a very lighter pink to the product. So this is the original pink of the abaya. So I made sure, so this is like a proper grading workflow, and I managed to do all of this, and I always go back and forth in color pop, skin, hue versus hue to bring the correct colors of it. And then the other slide is sharpness, where if you need sharpness you can just add. This shot never needed sharpness. And then this is a CST, which brings the DaVinci wide camera back into Rec 709. So if you just go to the effects and search for Dehancer, and then what happens is if you just drag it and drop it on the last node, it immediately changes into this film look. See, told you. Honestly, this looks like a Twilight shot from a Twilight movie, which was the look that I really wanted. So kudos to that. Once you get the Dehancer software, you just have to go here to license info, and then you just have to activate your license through that, and then you would be using the pro version. You can also have the trial version, but it'll leave this watermark here. So once you get the pro version, as in once you subscribe, you will have unrestricted access to this amazing plugin. So the source that we are giving it to is Rec 709. As I mentioned, I had a CST in the end here, which changes my footage to Rec 709. So it gets the Rec 709 here, which is good for us. We are currently using the Kodak Vision 3 250. If I enable it, this is the look. If I disable it, it takes me back to the original look. But then still you would be wondering, where did all the noise come from? Because it came from the film grain here, which is enabled. So for you to do what would I recommend is, if you don't want to have this prejudiced look which Dehancer gives you, if you want to start fresh, I would say go into the plugin, and then if you just click disable all tools, it takes you back to the original footage from your pipeline, all the grade that you did, and it gives you full freedom to start everything layer by layer and explore everything. So in this one, I think I really like the Kodak Vision 3 250D, so I would enable that. So print, we can adjust the exposure here as well. So as I said, you can make minor changes, minor tweaks here. Don't try to bring back the highlights or uplift shadows here. Just try to add little. So let's say if I think the contrast is lacking here, if I need a little bit of more contrast, I can add a little bit of contrast here, and then you would be wondering, but there's nothing happening in the image. The reason is I haven't enabled it. I'm a dumb person. Once you enable it, and if you adjust the tonal contrast, you can see the contrast here, and I really love this. You can also push the exposure, and then this shot, I think I can add a little bit of grain to it. Let me see, I'm adding a little bit of grain to it, and this feels too much. And there is a tip, I think someone said it, where if it feels like you have added grain to your footage, it means that you have overdone it. 16mm 50. This is not bad. I can also reduce the amount here, probably to 5, and this looks good. So this is how you use Dehancer. So I'll take you to the second shot now. This is my beautiful model Aisha, and we have this sun hitting right on her face, and I've already finished all the changes in terms of color and exposure. I'm just going to show you what Dehancer does to this footage, and the workflow, as I mentioned, is the same thing. I literally use the same node tree, and I just change the parameters accordingly. So if I had the Dehancer Pro on top of it, it gives you the similar look that you get in the previous shot, but I think in this one I'm going to play around with my grade. So let's see. So we have a lot of Fuji, there is Cine Still, Kodak, and even you get the Polaroid versions here. You can see, oh, you can make a period film. You can just shoot a film in digital, and you can make a period film with this LUT. Oh my god. Sorry, not a LUT. Film like color grading plugin. Let me see. I wanted to try this Supra 100, and it's good. I mean, the look, it gives you a very nice look to the footage, which I really like. I personally like everything that has this reddish tone to it. Let me see what I can do with halation. 16mm Super 16, and okay. Did you guys see that? It adds a little glow to her face. Makes it look like straight out of a periodic film. I mean, if I increase the amplify here, you can see it in the eyes. It gives you this very nice halation. Probably I would leave it somewhere around 75. It's very good. Let me see what I can do with bloom. Okay, it's already at 35mm Super 35. If I enable this, see, it gives you this really nice pop that you get whenever you're using this filter. People use this filters with their cameras, where it sort of gives this glowing effect on highlights, and I think bloom pretty much sort of resembles that effect, and I personally love this shot. I personally love this bloom effect that's happening on this particular shot. This is the shot of the blue mosque, and then let me add the Dehancer on it. And then I personally like the Kodak one, so I mostly go towards the Kodak ones, but I mean you guys can use anything that you want. I mean this gives something similar to the color that the shot had, so I will go with this one. Let's go to the final image, and then I'm dropping the Dehancer here, and then already it looks very good. I think pretty much most of the things are enabled here, so what I would do is probably disable the grain. Oh no, I really love the grain. I don't want to disable it. Probably make it this way. Yeah, I mean if you add a very little amount to it, it still gives or has this effect on your footage, which makes it very good. Let me compare it this way. So I've added noise reduction here, so let me uncheck it here, and then so this is the noise that comes straight out of the camera, which is not that good because I was shooting at a low exposure, so this is not very appealing. But then if I add a noise reduction here to make the footage smooth, and then add the noise back here, this makes it look very nice somehow. I don't know how. But also you can one more thing is you can add film damage to your clips. So if I enable it here, if I play it, you can see the film damage on it. I mean one problem is Dehancer is GPU heavy. It takes a lot of memory whenever it's working. So what I would personally recommend is work on proxies, and also if you want to use film damage or grain to your footage, make sure you set it at the right levels that you want, and then if you're happy with these levels, just disable them and then keep it aside and work on all the other parameters in terms of the film look, the color, and then if you want to change back the color grade at the back. And then once you're done, before exporting, I would say just enable the film grain back, and then just go straight into deliver page and export your footages. So I hope you guys really loved my version of Dehancer and how I really loved enjoying this software. I also happen to have a promo code on my description, so if you ever want to try out this software, you would get a 10% discount if you use the link that I provide in the description, and then you would also learn more about this. So this is my take on Dehancer. Of course they sent me to test it out, but I really love testing it out, and I'm more than excited to use it in the upcoming projects. I'm traveling to India next month, and I'm also getting to use the Nikon ZR. So I'm really excited to use this on Apple ProRes as well as the Nikon Red Log codec. So excited to use it. So there's a lot of exciting things that's going to happen in the upcoming months, so stay tuned. I forgot to mention that Dehancer is not just for DaVinci Resolve. Apparently you can use it with Premiere Pro, you can use it with Lightroom for your pictures, you can use it with a lot of different softwares that are available out there. I just happen to show to you guys what it can do with DaVinci, because DaVinci is like my go-to software now. So you're more than happy to try it out with any other software, and if you just buy this subscription, you're happy to use it in all other software that you have. So good for you. And if you have any questions, drop a comment. I would be more than happy to answer, and I think somebody from the team would also like to hear from you guys and try to make their software better for all the other creators out there. Until then, see you next time. Happy things, and I'm done with my coffee, so let me go get another coffee. Until then, see you guys. Take care. Bye bye.